morning to everyone and thanks for watching. I am Cristina.
I'm Zaira.
I'm Julia.
And Daniela.
We are members of the innovation team and today we will show you the module 6 of the WISET project that talk about ethical value and sustainable development. We divided our module in 3 different sections. The first one, ethical values, the second one, sustainable development, and the third and last one, good governance. In the first subsection is discussed how the concept of the ethics is perceived in the business world and the reason why to implement a code of ethics in the social enterprise. The mainly ones are the benefits that the company will earn from its positive public image and the trustful reputation. Because we know that the company's profits depends on how positively a company is considered. Sustainable development goals are a product of a wide-ranging discussion held by a large number of stakeholders and include broad sectors. For this reason, business focuses on community-based activities such as donations, art, sport, or helping the most vulnerable people have a direct impact on the community in which they work. The concept of good governance recalls the idea of legitimacy in the sense that the management system has the consent of those in charge. Therefore, it has the means to give and deny the consent, which can be most likely guaranteed by pluralist and multi-party democracy. This concept can be connected even to the environmental field. In the case of environmental good governance, sustainability is advocated as the supreme consideration in managing all human activity and also political, social and economic. The first section, ethical values, is structured in 3 different units. The goal of this section are understand the meaning and the origin of the word ethic, understand the reason to implement a business ethic model, understand how to develop an ethical program, reflect on internal organization, and understand how to involve the workers or the partners. The Unit 1 starts with the introduction of the origin of the word ethics and its meaning by usually perceived. Ethical value makes a distinction on how those values are perceived in the business world and so by the different organizations involved. This subsection of Unit 1 focuses on how and why we should implement a business ethic model. First of all, it is important that each social enterprise respect ethical values because business organization is affected by human activities. As a consequence, through the adoption of a code of ethics, the social enterprise will gain a positive public image, as well as encourage investment of other business. Lastly, 2 main aspects are important to implement the business ethics code. Setting up ethics training programs for employees and a monitoring department. This second unit refers to the development of an ethical problem. The 3 most important aspects are setting value of the company, that are working in a transparent way, making the conduct of the enterprise clear and concise, and this will lead to a more effective code of ethics and will strengthen the commitment of all employees as well. Unit 3 describes how to adopt ethical responsibilities in the employer and employee relationship. In the beginning, the company shares the corporate vision and the objectives of the code with the users. In this way, employees will be aware of that is, but some interactive case studies will be developed to help them. At this stage, we expect that people will be aware of their responsibilities and that will be ready to adopt the ethics code. So, after After the theory part, in order to make this module more dynamic, at the end of each unit, 3 videos of the same topics of the section were included. Most of them are TED videos, part of movies focused on ethics and business ethics, or YouTube videos that explain in a short and clear way all the topic on the section. In this case, we have the one about the section 1.
I had my own subtle experience with powerful situations. I was working for a company and I found out the CEO was doing something unethical and illegal. So I called a meeting with my boss, the CFO, and his other direct reports in a scenario that looked shockingly like this stock photo, and went to deliver the news, and I knew he would struggle. Although a very ethically driven man, the CEO was also a good friend of his. So I delivered the news, and he looked at me and he said, "I think we should do some more research and give it a little time." I was so dumbstruck by the answer that everything went into slow motion like it did when I was a kid playing soccer. And I looked around, and everyone has their head down or is slowly nodding. And I was so perplexed. I know these people, they're good people, and the last thing you want to do is put more time between when you know and when you say in a circumstance like this. So I was confused, but the humbling part of the story for me is then my thought process goes to, maybe we don't have to do anything. Maybe it isn't such a big deal. I don't even have to say anything. And then I was given a gift. The CFO was called out of the room for a minute, and in that moment, I remembered, this is one of those moments. This man hired me because he believed in me. He believed I would do my job and act on our shared values when it was hard. So he came back into the room, I stepped back into time, and I said, we should go to the board. And he paused, and he looked at me, and he nodded, and we did. But what I will never forget is that I am, and we all are, vulnerable to situational influence all the time. It's just natural human wiring.
Well, after this kind of short videos, in addition, at the end of each section, we have included a practical part. In this case, the exercise aims to check if students have understood the difference between ethical values in general and ethical values focused on organizations.
The second section, Sustainable Development, is structured in 4 different units that now we will explain you more in detail. The goals of this section are: understand the concept of sustainable development, understand why SDGs are good business, understand how to implement the SDG in a company, and in the end we find a successful example.
Unit 1 starts with the introduction of what sustainable development is, and also it explains how the concept was perceived in the past and how it's perceived now. And it is called the new paradigm development. Companies can contribute to achieve sustainable development by different ways. For example, by managing their economic growth and competitive advantages, by ensuring environmental protection, and by promoting and implementing social responsibility.
Unit 2 illustrates what are sustainable development goals. To implement sustainable development in business, it is necessary to focus and implement different skills, such as customer care, excellent employer, and the role model of environment. In the end, it is exemplified by sustainable development goals are good on business. When you add the profit to sustainable development goal, you can generate a unique competitive advantages tailored to consumers and investors.
Unit 3 shows that the challenges we are facing today can create many new opportunities. For example, first, the innovation, and second, the development. Therefore, there are many benefits for organizations that incorporate sustainable development objectives. And for example, they can count on market opportunities based on environmentally friendly solutions and technologies. New companies can integrate SDG goals into business strategy simply by picking the goals that matter the most to them and making improvements, making investments, and making priorities on them.
Unit 4 explained that the urgency for a global cooperation came from the increased awareness of the problems that our society is facing today. Instead, in the second point, we find the definition of sustainable entrepreneurship. Sustainable entrepreneurship can be described as entrepreneurship and innovation for sustainability. In the end, we can find a successful the first sustainable development story. The first municipality in Spain, Vila de Mat, throughout the use of the crowdlending platform, had installed a self-consumption solar.
So, even in this second section, after the theory part, so we have three videos on the same topic discussed in the second session. And these three videos are about the first three units. Most of them are TED videos, YouTube videos, and also we have a song of SDG goals. Now we will show you a short video on business and sustainable development.
Welcome everyone. We're here to discuss a crucial and urgent agenda that will have profound implications on our company, but also far beyond the four walls of this boardroom. It's time to talk about the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, and what they mean for business. The SDGs were agreed upon by world leaders in 2015. These 17 goals are a universal framework aiming to tackle our most pressing social, economic and environmental challenges on the road to 2030. These are big goals, and they aren't just goals for the developing world. Every country has work to do. They'll transform the world we live in, for the better. But what role is there for us as a business? Isn't this just something for governments to deal with? Quite the opposite. The truth is that these goals can't be achieved without business. Businesses like ours are the driving force, an essential part of the process. But it goes further than that. As much as the SDGs need business, long-term business success hinges on the goals being realised. Let's look at the SDGs from four key angles. Environmental and social challenges are limiting growth and costing us greatly. The SDGs can reverse these trends. Let's act early and manage our long-term risk, stay ahead of policy developments and protect our competitive position. Doing nothing will be a costly option. Business solutions that align with the goals stand to open up at least $12 trillion per year by 2030. We'll also create new jobs and better support the communities we operate in, helping us build trust with our governments, shareholders and customers. Better information equals better decision making. Disclosing sustainability risks and impacts and pricing them appropriately is where the market is headed. Finally, achieving the SDGs is beyond the reach of any one company. We must work together. So integrating the SDGs into everything we do will help our organisation become more competitive, more resilient and ultimately more successful. Together, we can turn these goals into business action, resulting in a more prosperous world for everyone. It's time to take action. Let's be part of the solution.
In this section, we can find a practical part. We have two different exercises. In the first one, students are to write three important skills for organization to implement sustainable development. In the second one, two questions are provided to discuss in group sustainable development applied to the business world.
Now let's talk about the section 3 that is called good governance, and it consists in only one unit. The goals of these sections are several. For example, we have understand the definition of good governance, or also understand the 5K principles of the governance structures, or also understand the importance of the job security. We have also managing social enterprises through empowerment, and so on. We have managing social enterprises through participatory management.
How we can see in this unit, good governance structure is based on 5 key principles: accountability, participation, effectiveness, openness, and transparency. This concept consists in different components. For example, one of them is legitimacy. Legitimacy means that the management system has the concept of duty or responsibility, and therefore has the means to give and then the consent.
Now let's talk about the governance structure. The governance has a critical role in the formulation and implementation of economic and social policies, development projects, and private sector support and coordination. The good governance is closely related to some concepts, for example, the job security, the empowerment, the participatory management. Now we can analyze each concept. About the job security, we can say that according to the World Health Organization, the wealth of companies is measured by the health and well-being of their workers. For example, through the fair remuneration, the job recognition, and personal opportunities. Now let's talk about the empowerment. The empowerment can achieve the optimal benefits as the members of the work teams, and the organization will have full access and use of critical information, possess the technology, skills, responsibility, and authority to use information and take any action right. What about the participatory management? The participatory management allows to create more transparent environment, and especially it leads to increased staff the staff confidence.
Also in this unit, like the previous section, 3 videos were included, and their topics are, of course, on good governance and its structures. Now, we will show you another short video in order to better understand what good governance is, and we hope that you like it.
Welcome to this webinar, which will tell you absolutely everything that you could ever possibly need to know about corporate governance. So let's begin with a definition. Corporate governance is the system by which a company is directed and controlled. It contains 3 critical words: system, directed, and controlled. As with all systems, it is essential to keep focused on the objective of corporate governance. And the objective is actually quite simple. It is to make better decisions. Corporate governance is not simply a regulatory compliance issue, but in effect, corporate governance actually enables the business to be more successful through better decision making. The key to the effectiveness of corporate governance in an organisation is the flow of information. For example, it's critical that the right information gets to the right people at the right time. There are also, of course, dangers associated with information. Not enough or inaccurate information leads to ill-informed decisions, whilst too much information means you can lose focus on what is actually supposed to be important. So apply the less is more principle, but do so with care. The most common serious failure is ineffective follow-up of decisions made. Therefore, agenda item number 1 in any committee must have 2 clear elements. Have we done what we have said we would do, and did it work? Only when you can answer yes to both of these questions can the item be considered dealt with effectively. Other critical areas relating to the success of corporate governance include challenging the decisions and recording of the challenges made, simplicity so that the system is both accessible and easily understood, and finally, honesty, making sure that people feel confident enough to actually state their mind. So sorry about my comment at the beginning of this session when I said you'd learn everything you needed to know, but at least you've made a start. Bye for now.
Like the other section, we have practical exercise about the good governance. We also have answer case and some nice aphorism as a source of inspiration. All these features, like the other ones of the other sections, are very simple and they can stimulate the attention of our students.
So now we are at the end of this presentation. We want to say thank you for watching to everyone.
It was a pleasure to us for working with you.
We hope that you will learn a lot.
And you will enjoy a lot.
Bye!
Bye. Yeah.